Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And let's do this again. Welcome to NFL World, where NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And the NFL trade deadline has passed. We saw some trades, nothing like we saw a year ago where big name stars were getting traded over, but some names that were traded over go as follows. So the Jets traded Mike Williams to the Steelers. This seemed like it was in the making for weeks. Mike Williams, after the Devontae Adams trade, was not being used, less being used. I don't even know how to describe it because he wasn't really being used to begin with. And maybe that's because he was coming back from the ACL injury. Maybe that was because he was coming back or trying to learn the Aaron Rodgers system. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But he wasn't playing a lot during games, which means you have a lot of weapons. You bring in Devontae Adams, try to shake some things up. Mike Williams is still there. So you say, okay, he was like our third guy, now he's our fourth guy. Or he was our fourth guy, now he's our fifth guy. There's no reason to have him there. You're playing Makai Corley over him. Okay? There's no reason to have Malachi Corley, I think it's Malachi Corley, playing over him and then keep him. There's no reason to do that. So he was traded. We all knew he was going to get traded. It was not a matter of if, it was a matter of when and where. And the where was Pittsburgh, which Pittsburgh was in on Brandon Ayuk. That didn't pan out. They were in on a couple other options. Those didn't pan out. I believe they were also in on Deontay Johnson, tried to bring him back. They did not, or at least chose another option. So Mike Williams is now in Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson, Pat Freiermuth, and George Pickens. It's going to be, it looks a really stacked roster. Can they put it together and make it a little run here? Let's see what happens. Another trade target that was named was Zadarius Smith. As actually, let me get the picks on my phone here. So let's get Mike Williams trade. Here we go. I have to go do this, I think. Looking. Okay. The Jets got a 2025 fifth round pick for Mike Williams. Just to let you know on that front. Next, let's do this one. Yeah, because we're already focused on them. Let's do dang. It's not what I asked for. Okay. The Steelers were very busy during this trade deadline, as they also traded for Preston Smith. I'm trying to find the trade. Trade package that they sent. Trade. There we go. And they sent a 20 in exchange for a 2025 7th round pick. Preston Smith wasn't playing a whole lot. He's a valuable guy, a veteran guy. He also asked for his release, or trade, I should say, in which the Packers said, yeah, you've been a good soldier, so why not? And get him out of here. And they did. So there's that one. The Steelers were very busy, and this is what good teams do. They load up in the offseason and say, we aren't good enough right now. Let's load up even more. So they load up again from the off season to beginning of the season, and they say, we're halfway through the season. We have been banged up. We have some injury issues, but you know what? There's some guys we can go get. Boom. Now, Preston Smith wasn't also the only Smith to get traded this week. In fact, his brother was traded, Zadarius. So let me grab that real quick. So let's grab Zadarius Smith's trade to the Lions, which this was kind of expected. And this happened on Tuesday morning. So the Detroit Lions acquired defensive end Zadarius Smith on Tuesday, sending a 2025 fifth-round pick and a 2026 sixth-round pick to the Cleveland Browns. That is not a lot. That is not a lot. You need a pass rusher. Okay, Zadarius Smith can be that for you, but he's a great run stopper. He's really good at it. That's the reason why I thought other teams would be more interested and that the offers might be a little higher than they were. Because you look at what is Preston Smith very good at. He's a good run defender as well, but he's a good pass rusher. Zadarius Smith's not. I mean, he's a good pass rusher. He's a great run defender. He's really good at it. So you got those guys. But a name that shocked, well, actually, two names that shocked. Let's start with this one here. Let's start with Marshawn Lattimore. Marshawn Lattimore got traded to the Washington Commanders. And the trade consisted of Washington's 3rd, 4th, and 6th round picks in the 2025 draft. The note to this, though, was the 6th round picks was also a trade that the Saints had made with the Commanders earlier in the offseason. They had traded their 6th round pick for a player, so they just get that pick back. And the Saints, look, we talked about this on Monday. They fired Dennis Allen. They are offloading some guys. I was kind of surprised that Cam Jordan wasn't offloaded. Same thing with Mario Davis. Kind of surprised by that. Chris Olave is banged up. Another concussion. I think they 5th concussion, 6th concussion in 5 years or something like that. Which either way, it's too much. So get well, Chris Olave. Please, you're much better when you're in the NFL than you're not. That the Saints are and the NFL is when Chris Olave is on the field. He's an exceptional player. But the one trade that I think bothered, I don't think it bothered Cowboys fans that they were going to trade for somebody. I think they are kind of like, okay, I get it. But it was, and Cowboys fans have said this. The trade for Jonathan Mingo, like, why? Why trade for him? He's the 4th or 5th receiver in Carolina. So why do that? That doesn't really help you. But it was not just the change for that, the exchange for the trade to bring in Jonathan Mingo. If it was like a 6th round pick, 5th round pick even, then okay, fine. But it was a 4th round pick of 2025 when you just said we aren't trading big draft capital. You traded a 4th round pick for a 4th or 5th wide receiver of a bad NFL team. He's the 4th or 5th guy. He's going to be on his, I just saw it yesterday. He's going to be on potentially his 6th head coach or 6th coach in 3 years. Like, that's horrible for the guy. That's horrible for him, okay? Like, it's not going to work. And look, I hope he does well. I hope he does awesome. I hope he shuts me up. I really do. I hope he goes and dominates. But I wasn't fed up with the idea of trading for a guy. I was annoyed by the fact of trading for a guy with the trading for him for the pick that we traded for him. If that makes sense. I was annoyed with the pick we traded for him. I thought we could have definitely got him a lot cheaper than that. Like, why does Dallas feel like they need to make that move? I mean, again, 6'2" and he can fly, but at some point, he hasn't shown it. And putting him in a situation like that, you're kind of banged up already. And putting him in that situation does not help you. In fact, let's stay on the Cowboys actually for a little bit here. Let's do Michael Parsons. Michael Parsons, the expectation is he's trending towards playing, I should say. Let's say that. He's trending towards playing. And damn it. No. There we go. There you go. So Michael Parsons is trending towards playing. Does he play? Does he not play? Do they hold him back? I really don't think they can hold him back at this point. He's not played for 4 games. You can't get a pass rush. Like, you got to find something. And you don't have the opportunities like of a few weeks ago where, okay, we were down 2 guys. But we only lost like a game. We're all set. We're hanging in. Right now, you're not. You got to find help somewhere. So there's issues with that. Brandon Cooks doesn't look like he's going to come back this week. But a big injury that happened over the weekend was the Dak Prescott injury. We didn't talk about this that much on Monday's shows. We did briefly. Dak Prescott suffered a hamstring issue, is what we were told. We didn't know what kind of hamstring issue. But Dak was saying how much pain he was in from that hamstring issue. He's like, it's nothing like I've ever felt before, which is very nerve-wracking. And on Monday, it was found out that not only did he have a hamstring issue, he suffered what is called a podal avulsion, which means hamstring partially comes off the bone. So let me explain this to you. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to use doctor scientific. But you take, let's use like an elbow, even though it's not the same. Let's pretend this is the back of your hamstring. You have ligaments back here that are attached to your bone. Your hamstring's attached. But when an avulsion happens, the hamstring goes from attached to unattached and can cause serious pain. He suffered a partial, which could result into he may need season-ending surgery. Depends on how it is. It's getting a second opinion. But at that time, it's like, okay, well, who's going to be the quarterback? Well, right now, it's slated to be Cooper Rush. The Cowboys have also said they may try Trey Lance. Yikes. It's the best way I can say it. There's no other way I can say this. It's not good. But here's the thing, if you're a Cowboys fans. Here's the optimism. You play Philadelphia this week. You play Houston. You play Washington. You play the Giants. You play Cincinnati. Those are your next 5 games. And you say, oh my gosh, it's impossible to win. And with Dak, I said, okay, maybe you could win 3. Well, now it's like, okay, can you win 2? My thing is, for whatever reason, you always split with Philadelphia, and you probably will split with Washington. But can you get those wins now? Can you get them now? That way, when you head into that game against the Giants, can you get those two divisional games? You play Houston in between them. Can you get that game? 3 games right there. But looking at Philadelphia's schedule and looking at Washington's schedule, once they play you, and I think a little after, they end up having to hit a harder portion of their schedule. Those are things that they didn't have to deal with the first 2 months. Now they're going to have to. The Eagles, I believe they play Pittsburgh, they play the Rams, and then they play Washington, I believe, is their next 4. And I believe Washington is Pittsburgh's this week. Well, actually, no, hang on. I misspoke. I think Philadelphia, I'm going to actually get this on schedule here. Hang on a second. Hang on. Let's get the Eagles schedule there. So their next schedules are, for the Eagles, go as follows. Cowboys, Eagles. Then they go and play a Thursday night game against the Commanders. Then they play the Rams. Then they play the Ravens. Those are their next 4 games. That's tough. They play Pittsburgh. When do they play Pittsburgh? I'm trying to look. December 15th. And then they finish out with 3 divisional games. Now let's grab the Commanders schedule. I don't know if you can hear that there's a fly going around. The Commanders schedule goes as follows. They play the Steelers this weekend, followed by the Eagles, the Cowboys, coming off of the short-term bye, then the Titans, and then the Saints. They play Atlanta December 29th, and then they're back at Dallas. So, to basically describe it, they play some tough games later in the year than you do. You can get a couple of these games. If you can get a couple, and you make it so it's like, okay, we go to Cincinnati, and we've played well, or we go against the Giants on Thanksgiving, and we've played well. Maybe there's still a chance at this. Maybe they're not. And maybe you're just saying, okay, we're losing positioning in the draft. But maybe there is. Maybe there is. Strange things happen. You can't really explain divisional games. They're not really describable. But when we do the What to Play podcast tomorrow, we will have this completely filled out, and they will probably raise the same question. With Dak Prescott out, how many games do the Cowboys win? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it more than that? Those are the questions we have to ask. Is it 1, 2, 3, or even more? Like, you have to ask that. And you have to wonder, how long is Dak Prescott out? Is he out the whole year? Is he out for 4 weeks? And then we see where we are? Like, those are things that have to be figured out. And it will be in the coming days and maybe even the coming weeks. All right, let's do the games and get out of here. So we got Thursday Night Football, Bengals at Ravens, -6. If I remember correctly, the last time these two teams played, there was no defense. I think the same will be true. I wonder what the Bengals are going to do against Derrick Henry. They did a good job last time. Can they do it again? I don't think so. And even if they do, it won't be enough. The Ravens win this game, but they don't cover at all. They win this game 24-21 and hope for the best. Actually, no, hang on, scratch that. They win this game 38-35, but I hope for the best. This defense, though, is going to be tested. There is a question if T. Higgins does go. So let's see what happens. Next up, Patriots versus Bears. Bears favored by 6.5. Bears coming off an embarrassing loss. 2 embarrassing losses, actually. 2 of them. One against the Commanders and an embarrassing loss against the Cardinals. They couldn't do anything. This is their bounce back game. And for the Patriots, look, they're not expected to be a good team. They're not. And the way they've played, they're showing that they're playing for Gerard Mayo. They're playing for Gerard Mayo. They're doing the things well. They're just, it's a process. And you have to find a way to deal with that process the best way you know how. So I do think the Bears win this because they start getting back to that form of let's go attack this quarterback. Like it's going to be like it's raining down fire. Let's go. And I think that's what will happen. And plus, I don't trust the Patriots' offensive line. So Bears win this game 28-14. Next up, Broncos versus Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 8. Broncos coming off an embarrassing loss against the Ravens. But here's the thing. Here's the good thing. You play the Ravens, a team that will destroy anything in their path at this moment. This is your game that you have to be ready for. You would hope that you would have better optimism, but you don't. You're still over 500. You're going into Arrowhead. The Chiefs just played them Monday night. They're a little banged up. You got to go in with Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, a good enough ground game with Javonte Williams and McLaughlin. Find a way to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. Because the Chiefs, they've almost lost games. Like, it's a week in and week out process of are they going to lose, are they not going to lose. This Broncos team has to be the team to win. They have to be. Bucks put a scare in them. They put a scare in them. Can the Broncos do that as well and pull it off? I think they do. Broncos find a way to win in an upset. 24-22. Next up, 49ers versus the Bucks. We just talked about the Tampa Bay Bucks. Played on Monday night. 49ers played on Sunday of last week. They're coming off the open week. +6 for the Bucks. Shanahan has said he's not going to rush McCaffrey back into this. So there's a pretty good chance he does not play. Having said that, you still got Debo, still got George Kittle, Jordan Mason's coming back. You got to find some rhythm if you're the 49ers. You cannot be 4-5. You cannot be 4-5. Because if you're 4-5, you go against, coming off the bye week, you nearly got scared by the Cowboys. And with the way it's going, Arizona, the Rams, even Seattle, who's 4-5 at this moment, they're finding it's staying close. The point of it is, I think Seattle, let me check. I don't know if Seattle's on bye week yet or if they've already had their bye week. Oh, there you go. Okay. Nope. Oh, wait. Yes, they're on their bye week. Okay. Okay. So Seattle's on their bye week. So this is the if you lose, you tie with them in last place. But if you win, you could be at the head of this division. You really could be. Depending on how Arizona plays, depending on how the Rams play, you could be at the top of this division. But if you lose and you play Seattle next week, Like, you both could be 4-5 and then staring down the barrel of a 4-6 start. That's not good. As much as we have talked about how the Cowboys have been not great, they're still third in their division at this moment in time, which says how bad the Giants are. But the Seahawks are 4-5. They're still in it. They're in their bye week, but they're still in it. At most, they're a game and a half back. You, as San Francisco, the only team you beat was the Seahawks. So you would be ahead of them, technically, but you would be behind everybody else. So you're not just a half a game back or a game back. You're 2 games back. You're 2 games back if they win and you don't win this. You're 2 to 2.5 games back. That's not good. You gotta find it. So, but I don't know if they can. The Bucks find a way to win this game because Baker Mayfield plays well under these sort of pressures. Give me the Bucks to win this 31-24. Next up, Eagles at Cowboys. Cowboys getting +7 with Dak Prescott out. Potentially no Michael Parsons. No DeVon Bland. The Eagles banged up as well. A.J. Brown a little banged up last week with a knee issue. I mean, Devontae Smith has been banged up a little bit. Dallas Goedert's been banged up a little bit. They've been banged up. Here's the thing that for the Eagles. They've played well, but they've almost lost games. If this Cowboy-Eagles game goes the way we normally see it go, it's not going to be fun for some of these teams here, for both these teams, because the Cowboys are going to feel like they don't have a chance until they do, and the Eagles are going to feel like we should be pulling away in this game, and we aren't. So I'm going to speak it into existence. The Cowboys find a way to win, and it would be their first home win of the season, not even in November, in the season. So they find a way to win this with the score of 26-20. And the reason I said 26 is because since Cooper Rush has been the quarterback, the 5 times that he was the quarterback, they have not scored over 28 points. The 6 times he played last in 2022, they did not score over 28 points. 26 is what they're getting. Because I don't trust this Eagles team, at least on offense, to consistently be able to pull out a rabbit out of the hat and make good decisions out of bad decisions from Nick Sirianni. Cowboys find a way to win 26-20. Next up, Lions at Texans on Sunday Night Football. 3+3.5 for the Texans. The Lions have proven this, that anyone in their wake will fall. They have proven it time and time and time and time and time and time again. They have proven it every time. And they can beat you in any way they want. You want to run the ball? Fine, we can do that. You want to pass the ball? Okay, fine, we can do that. You want us to not do offense? Okay, fine, we can score and win on defense. Okay, fine. It's almost like a challenge to them. Every week, it's like a new challenge of how they can win a game in the most craziest ways. You want us to only win by a kicking game? Fine. You want us to go catch a ball with a pinky toes? Fine. It's ridiculous, but they find a way to do it. They find a way. They do it again here. They destroy Houston. And again, that Houston desperately needs, but they just won't get. Lions win, blowout on Sunday Night Football, 38-10. And that is it for the NFL world. Let me know in the comment section how you guys are doing midway through the NFL season in terms of your score predictions. Let me know in the comment section below. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Beaver. Out.